You think you know what we're going to talk about.
But unfortunately, I fell down a damn rabbit hole and I've not gotten out yet.
Knife bros.
I literally Googled Sebastian Stan hands.
But just when you least expect it, we changed the game.
Well, yeah, because like usually in astrology, they would partner up air signs with fire signs.
All right, you can huggle.
Time travel stories and
At the end of the day, only one thing matters. We decide.
Well, we should make it a topic. Unfortunately, I didn't take German in school. I took Spanish and I don't remember any of it.
Three Fates Decide podcast.
Okay, hi everyone. This is Three Fates Decide. I'm Liz, and I'm with my two co-hosts here, Mary and Sam.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so tonight's topic is movies. It's the movie episode.
Woohoo! Love movies.
Yeah, I love movies too. I mean, I've yet to meet anybody who can actually say I despise movies with a burning passion.
If there are such people, they need to just go somewhere because that's just horrendous.
Definitely.
So, all right, first question is, what is your favorite movie of all time if you can pick one?
I have at least 3, maybe 4. Just really depends on the day.
Okay.
For me, one of the best movies that I've ever seen that I am enthralled with every time I see it on TV, or actually I own it on DVD now, and it is controversial, but it's Gone with the Wind.
Yes. Good movie. Very good movie.
It is a wonderful movie. I mean, it is controversial in the way certain stereotypes are portrayed. But because I like a lot of people tend to want to watch a movie to escape reality a bit. So, and going back, if you think about it, especially for that one, when it was made back in the 30s, the stereotypes, they weren't really stereotypical like they are nowadays.
Right.
You know, so I kind of have to shove that to the back of my mind, like, yeah, they portrayed this wrong and this is not right, and just watch the movie overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
And like
I
said, it's
yeah.
it's a controversial movie to watch. I mean, really, depending on what.
No, I agree.
But that was probably one of my favorites. The Wizard of Oz will always be near and dear to my heart.
My sister kind of ruined that for me.
Oh.
She watched it one too many times.
Yeah, I'm excited to show it to my daughter when she gets a little bit older and can understand it. So.
Oh yeah, no, like my kids will still know about it because it is a classic, but I see it and I usually can't watch it because I've just seen it. I can probably do that movie verbatim without the movie playing.
Yeah.
But it is a good movie.
Yeah, I agree.
The Sound of Music is another one for me.
I have a funny story about that movie.
God, I love that movie.
Okay, yeah.
I'll tell this real quick. A couple years ago, at an IMAX theater, they were doing Sound of Music sing along.
Right.
Edition.
Yeah, sing along edition.
And so, my sister-in-law got us tickets, and all the women in my family and her family, we went, and there was just so many older people that actually, like, it kind of felt like Rocky Horror, where they all like dressed up. They were people dressed as nuns. Oh yeah, there were so many women dressed as nuns. It was hilarious. And it's like, that it's a sing-along. So obviously, like, that first song, like, the music ramps up as, the helicopter's going toward the hill, and all of a sudden, she starts singing "The Hills Are Alive," and literally all of these old people also were like, the hills are alive. I lost it. I died. I missed the first song because I was too busy crying because all these people were just singing at the top of their lungs so passionately. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen, heard in my entire life. It was awesome. Rest in peace, Christopher Plummer.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was
And
3.
yeah, my fourth one is one that I don't know if a lot of people have actually ever really heard of it. It's called Gigi.
Oh yes,
Mhm.
Gigi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gigi's good.
Yes. I mean, obviously another controversial topic of the movie. I mean, really? But it's
Mhm.
so well acted and the music in it, it's just, oh my gosh, it gives me chills when I watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a very well done movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just thought it was really interesting. Like, for Gigi, they had Leslie Caron playing Gigi, and the funny thing is that when Gigi was on Broadway, it was played by a relatively unknown actress named Audrey Hepburn.
Hmm.
Spoil.
It was like just before she was doing Roman Holiday, so she was kind of like a relative nobody, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's
remember
very
the
cool.
I don't remember the exact timeline now. I have to look it up, but I think it was like the same year or within a few months before she did Roman Holiday. In fact, I think Gigi was the reason why she got cast in Roman Holiday was because the producer or the director or somebody saw her on Broadway playing Gigi and thought she played a young ingenue character very well, and you need like a very pretty but also somebody you can actually believe is a young energetic princess going on an escapade. So
It was
yeah,
it
and
was
there
done in 1951, so
and there is my movie nerddom uh proof.
There you go. Good job. No, that's actually really interesting though. I like stuff like that though. I like, learning about that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love learning about old Hollywood. I mean, um, it's actually slightly related to. Uh, I had to really think about like what my favorite movie would be, and after thinking about it, actually, I feel like it may actually be The Wizard of Oz because one of now my memories of my childhood like gets very fuzzy at a certain point. So one of the earliest memories I can very clearly remember was I was about 5 years old at the time, like five, almost six-ish, and the first two movies I can distinctly remember watching was the old Disney version of Cinderella and The Wizard of Oz. So between those two movies, they left the strongest early impression on my mind. And right, and then subsequently, I happen to come from so just briefly, I come from a family with like really weird age gaps because my parents actually had me in their early 40s. So so I was raised by parents who their early childhood was like the late 30s. So when they grew up, they were growing up watching what is arguably the golden age of old Hollywood, in the
Mhm.
40s and 50s and even in the 60s. So
Mhm.
whenever they want to watch, some of these older movies, because it's like, oh, remember this is what we used to watch, after school, or this is what we watched when we went on a date. I would start watching these things too. So my childhood was basically growing up with Disney movies and MGM musicals.
Yep.
Is basically what it is. So that's why, like, I was just like really, I was actually kind of impressed, Mary, earlier when you were saying like, your favorite movies were like Gone with the Wind and Sound of Music and Wizard of Oz, because my grandmother, she loved Gone with the Wind.
Mine did too.
Yeah.
That's where I got my love of it.
Right. And the other thing that I have to like point out though is that my family originally came from Hong Kong. So they don't have this, I don't know if you want to call it a baggage or what would be the right term for it, but they don't have this kind of context of like racism that exists in the US because to them, a movie like Gone with the Wind is just this almost like a fantasy movie from another country that's like a foreign country and a foreign culture and something completely almost like alien to them. So they have no, cultural historical hang-ups, I guess, maybe the right way to put it, about slavery, which as we all know is a stain on this country, quite frankly. But, for my grandmother, she loved seeing, this, she loved seeing Vivian Lee wearing all these like dresses and, like costume changes, like, every other scene practically, because for her, that is the fantasy of the young lady. Because, for my grandmother, she was kind of, she wasn't like a rich girl per se, but, she came from a family that was like, what we would consider middle class. But in a Chinese context, especially at that time, they were relatively wealthy compared to a lot of other people. So
Right.
right. So she was kind of raised almost like a social debutante type of thing to a certain degree. Like she would get a ladies' education where she'd get like basic education of like history and math and all that kind of stuff, but it wouldn't be anything higher than high school level, because why does she need to know? She doesn't need like an advanced college degree. I mean, she's going to get married and have kids and everything, and expect it to be her husband's like helpmate and support him socially and whatever. So yeah, that Gone with the Wind was kind of appealing to her because of how beautiful Vivian Lee was. And my mom loves The Sound of Music, so there you go. 3 generations of us loving 3 different movies. Yeah.
So my absolute favorite, I first saw this movie when I was in college because I was a film major. So I took obviously a bunch of film classes in terms of, you know, watching movies and breaking them down and all that stuff. And the one that really resonated with me my first year of college was Casablanca.
Oh, that's
Yeah, Casablanca, yeah.
And so I always consider that like my favorite, just because like the first time I saw it, I was just so enraptured. Like I just like it, I couldn't get it out of my head. Like I just, and to me that's what makes, a good movie, because like it was just so amazing to me. I literally was just speechless. So that definitely is, I would say, like my number one favorite, but definitely Sound of Music is up there. I already mentioned Wizard of Oz, unfortunately cannot be in my top because of my sister watching it over and over and over and over and over. I think my dad finally said, "You know what? Toto's dead." And just to get her to stop watching. Like, it was so bad.
God.
But and then honestly, one of my favorites, or two of my favorites, I should say, are more, I would say, current, in terms of like my childhood, and that's The Sandlot
Okay.
and
Yes,
Mrs.
oh, I
Doubtfire.
remember that one.
Mrs. Doubtfire also, because
Oh
you
God,
gotta love
yes.
Robin Williams.
Pretty much anything with Robin Williams in it was awesome for me.
So
I would have to say when it comes towards more of a modern movie, oh please excuse me. I would have to say one of my favorites of all time has to be Ace Ventura: Pet Detective 1 and 2.
yes. Yes.
I
That was actually just on TV, I think, yesterday.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
I love Jim Carrey,
yeah.
especially when he's in his comedic form and his element. And those are some of the best movies I've ever seen with him. That and my great aunt always hated Jim Carrey.
What?
So, needless to say, every time she'd come visit, guess what? I watched all the time.
Yeah,
I was a spiteful child.
it's so funny. Yeah, that movie was literally just on yesterday, and one of the moments that just cracks me up is it's at the end of the movie, and he's driving Dan Marino back to the stadium, and Dan Marino asks him for more gum, and he goes, "That's none of your business." And I would thank you to stay out of my personal affairs. And I don't know why, I find that line hilarious.
But
So
yeah,
funny. Yes.
I'm
No, I
like,
agree. That's and Dumb and Dumber. We're gonna go Jim Carrey.
Dumb and Dumber, definitely. Yes.
So
I mean, The
good.
Mask was good too.
Yes. And Liar Liar.
Oh
I was
God, liar, liar.
I was a big Jim Carrey fan as a kid.
I was too.
Yeah.
Which is why nowadays I don't find the comedy movies that funny.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like the comedy movies today almost try too hard.
Well, I think they've gone too far. They've gone from being funny to just being outrageously gross.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many times you can do a sexual funny joke.
Mhm.
I mean, Jim Carrey's movies, they were funny because they were the slapstick comedy funny.
Right.
Like it was just
Yeah,
like
that's
rim
true.
shot after rim shot after rim shot. He just brought it one right after another after another after another. He never thought about it.
Yeah. Well, and
And
same thing with Robin Williams.
yeah, right. And I mean, I know they were written that way, but
But I think I read, well, I know definitely Robin Williams, but I'm sure Jim Carrey also, they improv'd a lot of that stuff. I mean, they were stand-up comics, so, you know,
exactly.
they could improv. Like, I would hate to work with them because I would just be like, "Wait, what? What are you
I would
doing?"
I would be laughing the entire time if I worked with those two. Then nothing would have gotten done because I would have just been like, they would have said something and I'd just have been dying of laughter.
Yeah, this just reminds me, like, in terms of comedies, like one of my favorites, like relatively modern times, was Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
that was a good one. That was a good
We're men. We're men in tights, tights, tights. Oh
Uh,
god, yes, that was so good. Well, I love oh, what's his name?
what, Mel Brooks?
Thank you. I love
Yeah.
Mel Brooks movies because like Spaceballs
Yeah,
Yes.
Spaceballs was
and
the other
like
one I really liked a lot. That was funny.
like he and even like the producers, like that's his.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, both
It's just
versions. Yeah.
yeah, it's hilarious. Hilarious. I love comedies though. I
Mm.
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's just
I think we all seem to like more of the old school comedies versus like the newer stuff. Because I mean, the newer stuff is like, there's just so many times you can use like fart jokes and gross out humor. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you almost start wondering like who the hell is actually writing these things anymore. I mean, there's nothing. It's like for me, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it feels like the some of the intelligence disappeared in a lot of comedies, which
mhm.
is kind of disappointing because as silly as like Mel Brooks's stuff can get, the thing is that there's still something very smart about the humor because it's like a mixture of spoofing something, but in order
Mhm.
to spoof something well, you have to actually understand what this original concept was and then figure out a way to like twist it on its head or kind of mirror it in like a funhouse mirror kind of way. And that's what makes it funny. And you
Yeah.
just don't find a lot of that kind of humor anymore, really, that kind of humor writing.
Yeah, like I mean, like Will Will Ferrell.
Right.
Mhm.
Like I loved the first Anchorman. I thought that was hilarious, but like almost every other movie he's done since then, I'm not like I don't find him very funny.
I
But
don't
like Anchorman, I thought was hilarious.
I don't know. I've seen some Will Ferrell stuff. I'm just not a big fan of his. Not saying he's not a good actor. He is. It's just I don't find his brand of humor funny, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Like I
think.
said, I think Anchorman's the only thing that I liked of his.
Well, there's Elf.
No, see, I just thought it
Oh
was
yeah.
stupid. I think for me anyway, I think he overplayed it.
What's his name directed that?
I don't know what's his name.
Um, why not?
Well,
Jon
I
Favreau.
can't
But yeah, no, I think Jon Favreau actually directed that. I think that was one of his first movies that he directed.
Okay, yeah, because I couldn't remember like what some of his other stuff was. So actually, I don't think I've watched a lot of John's movies other than Iron Man and Elf.
Actually, he probably directed more than you think. Let me go to his IMDb page. Director. So he's doing a lot with Disney now. He did the Lion King movie that just came out. He did the Jungle Book.
Okay, now I did like, surprisingly enough, I did like the live action Lion King. I didn't think I
I
would.
did too. I thought it was very good.
I did too. Because I mean, I loved the animated version, the original. I was
Mhm.
like, loved it. I'm like, there's no way it is ever going to be as good. But I was very pleasantly surprised when it was actually really good.
What I liked about it was he really did try and stay true to the original,
Mm-hmm.
but
Good.
added a little bit here, a little bit there, some new jokes
Right.
that I think were more toward like people our age who obviously saw the original
Mm-hmm.
and have grown up with the original. So you know, just like to give
Oh
give
yeah.
us there was one joke that Timon says
Well, I
in like
like.
the battle at the end, and I can't remember what it was, and it was hilarious. I like
Yeah,
spit my drink out.
yeah, but I do like the fact that he kind of expanded the whole Simba, Timon, and Pumbaa
Hmm.
in the live action that wasn't that I would have loved to have seen in the animated version.
Hmm.
It really, I mean, they kind of expanded on that, and it was so beautiful where they actually shot that or whatever they did, or it might have just been CGI, but whatever it was beautiful. I was like, damn.
Oh, that's what he did. Okay, I remember
But
the when he was trying to distract the hyenas, and he started to sing "Be Our Guest."
oh, that's right.
He was like, "Be our guest." Right. I was like, well, that's a cute way to involve another Disney movie.
Yes, that was good. But I will say I was disappointed by the Aladdin remake.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. I liked so I I, eh, th- I guess I like that they gave Jasmine a little bit more of a voice, but I mean, I feel like they kind of took it a little too far, I guess.
Yeah, well, I
But
think the
the
thing.
song that she sang, actually on the album, they have it as like one because it's actually like a song that's split up into two pieces in the movie, but they
Mhm,
actually have it on the CD as like one song. It's actually a really awesome song,
mhm.
and has like a great message. But yeah, I wasn't overly impressed either.
I think that what really did it for me is, I mean, I love Will Smith. Do not get me wrong. I'm a huge fan of his movies. I did not like him as the genie.
He actually did not want to do it at first. He had said no, and he said the reason why he said no is because he knows no one can do the genie like
Like
Robin
Robin
Williams.
exactly.
I mean, you think of the genie, you think of Robin Williams. I mean,
Mhm,
even when on Broadway, everyone know. I mean, the day that Robin Williams died, they did a whole thing at the Aladdin shows for him. Like he is the genie. That's just that's how it is. Like, you know, so like
mhm.
Will Smith did not want to do it because he did not want to seem like he was either copying or overstepping or anything like that. So he tried to kind of turn it into his own, but it's hard when all you think about, I think no matter who it was, I don't think it
Right.
was going to matter who the actor was. I don't think
Right.
anyone would be happy because it's not Robin Williams.
And I mean, I did get that, and I knew that going in that it was going to be completely different. It just it
Mhm.
was just so disappointing. Even though I knew going into it, it wasn't him. It was
You
never
were
going to
hoping he
be.
was magically going to appear.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah. No, I get it. I get that.
but I mean, other than that, I didn't mind it. It wasn't bad, but it
Mm.
just was so much better.
I liked Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I thought that was pretty good.
hmm
I
I
was
was pleasantly surprised with that remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
Honestly, like Luke Evans as Gaston was hilarious.
It was perfect.
He was awesome.
Yes, and I'm not sure
And
who
Josh,
played LeFou.
yeah, he's the one who plays what's his name in Frozen?
Olaf.
Olaf. Yeah.
Okay, it's the same actor.
hmm
Oh my
He
god,
was hilarious, but he's
he was.
funny in general.
Yeah, but I mean, LeFou was chef's kiss perfect.
Yeah, no, he was perfect. Yeah.
It's like,
And
it's like,
a
oh
lot
my
of
god.
people had something to say about Emma Watson, but I didn't think she did bad.
I thought she did pretty good. I mean, she really kind of reminded me of Belle.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
And I mean, yeah, she's not a fantastic singer, but Belle doesn't sing that much. Like,
doesn't.
not like in the musical. If they did like the musical version, I'd be like, all right, you got to find somebody else. But
Right.
you know, they did the movie version, so she doesn't sing that
Mhm.
much. She sings like 2 songs.
Yeah, she did fine.
And I thought Dan Stevens was awesome
Oh yeah,
as the Beast, but I love him.
I do too. I
Yeah.
liked him since Downton Abbey.
Yep, I was so mad when he died.
I know. Well, he requested to be written off. That was the thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
you're an idiot. I'm like,
yeah. Well,
yeah, you've gone on to do so. I mean, granted, he went on and he's done well for himself, but he was doing so well on that show. It's like, why would you do that?
yeah. And I mean, the show only lasted what, another 2 or 3 seasons after that? Like you couldn't
I
wait 2 or
think
3
something
years?
like that. It really, what it was like 6 seasons? Was it 6 or 8 seasons?
I think 6.
I think
I don't
6.
think it was
So
8.
there's like 3 seasons left
It's
or
kind of
something.
funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Dan Stevens, he kind of got me when in Sense and Sensibility. Actually, that was the first time I ever saw him anything.
I'm trying to think, who was he in Sense and Sensibility?
Edward Ferrars.
Oh my god, yes.
Okay, I've not seen the Sense and Sensibility then.
Oh my god.
They did an adaptation back actually on ITV in the UK, and they showed it on Masterpiece Theatre, like I think the following year. But they did like 3 different adaptations. They did Mansfield Park, Sense and Sensibility, and Northanger Abbey.
Okay, because I've seen all 3 of those. I actually own all 3 of these movies. However, he's not in any of them.
He was Edward Ferrars. That's how I saw. That was literally the first time I ever saw Dan Stevens, and that was like what 2007, 2008. It was something like that.
Because I have like the 1995 version.
Oh, okay.
with
Yeah,
Emma.
you're thinking Hugh Grant, but
Yeah.
Yeah, Hugh Grant
Yeah.
played it in that.
Right.
But yeah, I forgot he
I
played
thought-
it in that one.
Austin Knight in the House.
Yeah, that's why I got confused.
Jane Austen is my absolute favorite author. I have
Mhm.
I've not every adaptation, but I've seen a lot of them. A lot of adaptations. Like you asked me about, I will probably know it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why I got really confused because I was like, wait a second.
Well, yeah, at first I was like, wait, I don't remember him in that movie because I was thinking the same as you, like the 1995. And then when you said Edward Ferrars, I was like, oh, you're talking about that version.
Yeah, because I didn't even know there was that version, honestly. I mean, I stick with what I like, and I don't usually change.
He's just so pretty.
Who?
He's really pretty.
Dan
Dan Stevens. Yeah,
Yes, he is very pretty.
I have a thing for blue eyes. I think Jesus.
Gee,
Hmm.
we're like we couldn't tell.
Yeah. Who are my top faves?
Exactly.
So what movies have affected you? So like I'm gonna express something about myself. So I have a fear of sharks, right? I'm
Okay.
sure you can see where this is going, maybe.
Okay.
And it's
Oh,
because at
yep.
5,
Oh,
parents let me watch Jaws.
oh God. Uh huh.
And ever
Clown,
since then, I have a fear. Now I live by the ocean.
clown. Mine's
Boy.
clown because of it.
Oh boy.
So any either of you have movies that have affected you? And well, and another funny story and totally embarrassing. My siblings like to make fun of me. So I'm 5, right? To
Mhm.
me, the shark was doing what sharks do. I didn't think it was weird that it was just eating people to, you know, whatever. I thought, oh, that's what sharks do. They just eat people. Hey. So when they killed the shark at the end, I actually cried because I thought it was animal cruelty.
Aw.
I cried for the shark.
That's actually kind of sweet.
Just this what I was thinking. Was like, that's kind of sweet. Aw.
I'm like,
That's a
my family
passion.
makes fun of me all the time, but I was like, why'd they kill the shark? He was just doing what he does. I don't understand.
You were 5.
I was like 5 years old.
You should not have been watching Jaws.
And I believe I was at my beach house the first time I saw it too. So it was like, oh, tomorrow let's go to the beach. No. Don't make me. Even now I don't like to go past my knees.
Well, I don't like to go past my knees because I'm not that strong of a swimmer.
Mm.
I mean, I can swim. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I mean, if
My-
I got caught in a riptide, I would be a little.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be someone who knows how to swim in the ocean to kind of
Yeah.
get
And
out of those. But it's so funny because, like, you know, my mom told me to get over my fear. Well, just make sure someone's in front of you, so that if
no.
there is a shark, it's not going to come after you. I was like, I don't want to see someone else get attacked either. I was like, and what
Yeah.
if the person that's in front of me is my sibling? Then what?
Yeah.
So yeah, has any movie ever affected you the way
Stephen King's
Jaws has
It.
affected me?
Stephen King's It.
The original.
Yes, the
Mm.
1991 version. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tim Curry. Oh,
Oh my God. Yeah. I love him though.
I
He
do too.
does that. He
That man
does so
can play.
good with that stuff.
I mean, he plays creep well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, I love Rocky Horror Picture Show because I mean that was just like iconic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate clowns. I legit hate clowns because of that movie. Because I mean, the new one was like okay,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't as scary. I mean, it was scary, but it wasn't as scary as the original was for me. But then again, I saw the original when I think I was like 8, maybe
Right.
9.
That could
Yeah.
make it scarier for you.
Yeah, I was 9. I was 9 when I saw that. Maybe 10. I might have saw it the next year when it came out on TV or whatever or something. I don't know. I remember I was young when I saw it and I was like, I've hated clowns ever since. But yet I'll
Yep.
watch anything with Tim Curry in it. And I watch it, and the thing of it is that if it's on TV, I will sit and watch it.
Oh yeah, I watch Jaws still. Again,
I
I was a film major, so like I
Yeah.
studied Spielberg.
Right.
So I did a whole thing on the making of Jaws and how he hated the stupid shark because the stupid shark stopped working the first day of filming when they put it in the water.
Oh yeah,
And the shark's name was Bruce. And
Bruce.
Bruce wasn't working. And the opening scene, you were actually supposed to see the shark.
Mhm.
And because the shark wasn't working, they couldn't show it. So they used music instead, and it wound up making it 10 times more terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Alfred Hitchcock solution.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, the birds.
Oh God, yeah. Now whenever I see a flock of crows or anything, I'm like, oh my God.
You mean a murder of crows?
Yeah, Murder of Crows.
Yeah, it's a murder of crows.
Yeah. Whenever I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like anytime there's doesn't even have to be crows, just big flocks of birds.
Birds.
We have big flocks of birds around here in this, like in the fall, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, like I'm like legit. I'm like I know they're not coming after me, but by God, there's a lot of damn birds out here.
You just flinch.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't leave my house. I mean, Hitchcock movies are just
Oh, they're
good movies.
they're awesome.
They're amazing movies, especially for
Rear
when
Window.
you're filming them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though it's like you can tell it's so fake now compared to
Right.
what we see, but they're still so good. Psycho.
Yeah,
Oh,
Psycho.
iconic.
Oh. Oh.
Well, and sometimes like I find that just as important as obviously like the acting and stuff like that, like the music and the sound effects like help make
Yes.
like I said, like with Jaws, like
Mm-hmm.
and with a lot of Alfred Hitchcock movies, the music behind it that like just like it helps feed
Crescendo.
into that. Oh my God, it just gets you.
Mm-hmm.
When
yeah,
you hear that music, you know that shark is coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're sitting here talking about it, and I've got the music in my head. That is how iconic the music is.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like with Psycho, the thing is I mean, obviously you would have discussed this in class, when you were studying it, Sam. But like the thing with Psycho is that in that shower scene, when you really look at it, if you didn't have the music, you wouldn't really believe that there's a murder going on, because just from the visuals alone, it's like
Mhm.
it you get these vague shots of like a knife and she's screaming, but the music is
Right.
what
And the
makes
water
you,
going
yeah,
down. Yeah.
right. But it's like, they're like these separate shots that got pieced together, but the music is what kind of puts it together, really.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Besides
Without that music, it would look very stupid.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
because obviously it's fake.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because I mean, it's like those movies, like the music of them are like ingrained in your head.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like you just hear a snippet of one of those, and you know immediately what movie they're talking about.
yeah.
You know.
I was just watching a video today. Speaking of iconic music, and it's a guy who wore a Michael Myers mask and kept his phone, and he would just pull up next to these people and blast the Halloween music theme song, and then like people would like kind of look at him, and he would like quickly like turn his head toward them, and they would like scream or freak out, and then half of them started laughing because they were just like, what the hell. But it was just like you hear that music, and for the most part, I mean not everybody, but for the most part people would know like, oh, that's Halloween, like Michael Myers is walking somewhere. Like
Yeah. Or the Freddy Krueger,
yeah.
the Nightmare on Elm Street
Yep.
series. God, those movies made me scared to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. I heard somewhere Nightmare on Elm Street is like inspired by a real story or something.
Oh, don't tell me that.
It
I
doesn't
won't
surprise
sleep.
me if it is. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff. I think after about the early '90s, movies have kind of gotten not as good. I mean, can't say they're not good, but they're much more cookie cutter. Like they found the formula that works, so they just keep
Right, they're
pumping
gonna
that
stick to
same
it.
thing out over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Oh
Whereas
yeah.
before that, there was something there was always something different.
Well, right, like there was always like movie musicals, like the MGM musicals and stuff like that, but they were all like original
Right.
movies. And now, if it's a movie musical, it's a musical based off of a Broadway show, which is fine. I love it. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Broadway freak. So to see that, come from the stage to a screen, and being able to maybe go into a little bit more depth than you would if it was just on stage is great. But it's like I almost feel like you said, like today no one can be original anymore. They've like run out of ideas.
I mean,
And yeah.
yeah. I mean, the thing is that the movie business has really changed a lot over the decades, and the thing is that you notice that progressively over time, some of the experimentation kind of disappeared. Well, maybe not disappeared, but like it definitely started dropping because you're ultimately chasing the dollar is what it is. So it's like now what is the quote unquote guarantee is adapting a story from like a book, or in the case of like Marvel and DC, like popular comics.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Right, that have a built-in audience that people would be familiar with, and it'll draw the eyeballs.
Definitely.
So
yeah.
right, so you have that kind of stuff. So now you have studios that are more trying to like do stuff like that, where they feel comfortable with the notion that they will get an audience to watch this.
So what's one movie that you've watched that you will never watch again?
Oh God. I'd have to look up the stupid movie, but there was this one movie. Actually, I'll let you guys like name a movie, and I'll like actually try to look up what the name of it was. It's so bad.
I need to think. Like,
I know, that's what I was thinking. Is like, because I've seen so many movies, I'm like, which one will I never? What is one I would never watch again?
That's what, like, I need like a minute to like look it up, because there is an action. Unlike the other questions, like the other question about like what's your favorite movie, like I had a hard time like picking one until I thought about it. I know exactly what movie I would never watch again, and I have never watched it again either, because I hated it so much. It's just like I need to look up what the name of it was.
I just have to think of what movies I've watched. Oh,
I know.
Citizen Kane. Again, going back to old school, but Citizen Kane, hated it. Hated that stupid movie. The whole time it was a mystery. What is Rosebud? What is Rosebud? Oh my god, oh my god. It turns out to be a stupid sled.
Yeah, I never actually saw that.
Yeah,
I heard
I've
about it.
never actually seen Citizen Kane.
Don't waste your breath. And it was considered one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, I would
Spoiler alert, it's the sled.
For me, it is controversial. I mean, it's not really controversial, but for me, I mean, I'm going to have to go back to old school too. Would probably be The Omen, and it's only because I've watched it. I mean, I watched it a couple of different times, and it is just horrifically stupid to me. It was not scary, and it's kind of in the same vein as Rosemary's Baby. Like that one, I just really don't care if I ever see it again either. I guess I'm thinking I have to go back old school for ones. I mean, if I'm going new school, it'd have to be The Hangover.
Yeah, that was kind of a.
Oh no, I know. If we would have really go new, it would have to be 50 Shades of Grey and the Twilight movies.
Yeah, that's a whole other.
But that's the whole
God.
reason for those two. Because it's kind of in the same vein as the books there for me.
But I did find the name of that stupid movie that I said I was never going to watch again. I mean, as much as I said 365 was like Days was a bad movie, it is a bad movie. Like, I somehow just don't hate it as much as I hate this movie. So it's actually kind of like an indie crime comedy movie. I don't think it ever like was a box office hit or anything like that. I mean, I don't know, but it's called Go. It's from 1999, and I watched this movie because, as the year would suggest, it was originally released in 1999. So back then we still had rental video stores, and my brother rented this movie for some reason, and he asked me and two of my cousins, because like the three of us, like we used to hang out all the time with each other, because like we were all in high school and everything. So he was like telling me like, oh, I'm gonna return this video to the store in a couple of days, do you want to watch it? And I was like, oh, okay, because he's my older brother, so sometimes like whatever he listens to or watches or whatever, like I'll check it out too, because it's like the older sibling thing. Like sometimes he's into like stuff that's actually kind of cool, and maybe I'd like it. So we watched it, and my thought was like, I hate all these people in this movie. There is not a single person in this movie I actually like. And I'm not saying the actors are like terrible. It's literally like the characters, they're like terrible people. Like there's nothing there, pretty much almost all of them. There's nothing about the characters that are likable at all to me. So I just, and not to mention, I thought the plot was kind of stupid. I mean, to me, the plot was stupid. Maybe to somebody else, it's not that bad, but it's like one of those like crime heist kind of movies where it involves a drug deal and you have different characters in like an ensemble kind of a storyline. Like they have multiple storylines that are connected to a drug deal that went wrong somehow, and it's like some kind of dark comedy. Yeah. After watching that movie, I was like, I will never watch this movie again. It's so stupid. I don't like any of these people at all, and I haven't since. So yeah, like earlier when we were saying, when we were talking about like the scary movies, which incidentally I don't actually have a movie that affected me like the way it and Jaws did for you and Sam, because I was never really into like scary movies at all. And the few scary movies that I did watch, I watched them when I was like much, much older. Like I was at least in my teens when I saw them. So they didn't leave like any dark, traumatizing impression on me because I didn't watch those things.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch us next time.
And see what we're going to talk about.
Because the three fates decide.